Hey guys, welcome back to Boost Hunter Garage. Today we're working on the 07 here. We're going to be swapping these injectors finally. This truck has been needing these injectors bad. If you've seen some of my videos a few months back where I was having trouble holding rail pressure and it starting in the winter, and we had swapped one injector. But finally we have purchased some quality Dynomite Diesel injectors. Went with some 30% overs, nothing crazy. But they are, I think on their site, say they're rated for about 650 horse with the upgraded CP3 that we have. And now that we put this air dog in, there is enough fuel for probably around that 650 horsepower mark. But obviously with the stock turbo, stock engine, I don't think we quite be able to make that. And for sure, the transmission's not going to be happy about that. But because the injectors went, I did it now. Eventually we'll upgrade those other things. But today we're going to get to swapping these injectors, so we'll get right into it. So first we're going to get started by taking off our valve cover with these 10 mils. I unclip these harnesses now. It's a little easier with the valve cover down. Gonna take off your breathers here. I already have the intake horn pulled off from the other work I was doing. But first we'll just get by tearing all this down, and then I'll get back and show you the next few little steps. Alright, so now we got the valve cover off. You can see all the goodness in there. We're going to go ahead and take off this injector harness type. I can't think of the proper name, but you're going to undo all these 8 mils on top of the injectors. I'm going to mention this now in case I forget it later. Be careful with these, especially when you're tightening them down, because if you see my other videos, I did snap some of these studs off, and that's no fun. So we're going to go ahead, take this whole harness off, and we're going to go ahead and take the rockers all off. These are just 10 mils in here, and when I take them off, I'm going to set them up on this table here, and I'm just going to keep everything in order. Just lay them out 1 to 6 so that everything goes back where they were. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get this off and the rockers off. Alright, so as you see, we got all that off. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull all the injection lines off from the rail. They're just a 3/4 inch wrench. I'm going to use to take all those off. Obviously just 10 mil on these little hold down brackets. We're going to get all that out of the way, and then we will undo these 8 mils on the injectors, and we'll undo these hold down nuts for the crossover tubes. I forget the exact size right now, but once I get my socket on there, I'll let you guys know what that is. But I'm gonna go ahead, take all these off. Same thing, just lay them over here next to it. And just so I don't screw up, because I can be forgetful, I just put a 1 at this side so everything's in order here. We'll just lay the injection lines out here with it so we don't mix anything up. And yeah, we'll just get all that side of the way. And when I get to popping the injectors out, I will bring you guys back for that and kind of show you taking one of them out. All right guys, so I got all the hold down nuts and everything loosened off. I just want to point out this socket to take these hold down nuts are a 15/16. So yeah, I've got all those pulled out. I'll clean those up before I put them back in. Got everything laid out here. But first, now we're just going to go to pulling out the crossover tubes. I'm just going to do number one here first to show you. I believe there is a tool to pull these out. If they can be tough, but I just grab hold of them. We're just going to wiggle it as much as possible. And see, that one popped out like nothing. So that's not too bad. We'll lay that down here. And then I'm just going to pop the injector out. Once again, I think there is a proper tool for this, but I'm just using this tool that's for like interior parts. I'm just going to wiggle it and I'll get underneath it and pop it up if I can. Let's see if I can get in here better. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Popped her up. As you can see, look at the end of that. There's a lot of junk on the end of that nozzle. I'm no expert, but I don't think that's a good thing. And another thing is, make sure you get this copper washer out on all of them. If you don't have that out, you're gonna have some trouble. The new injector probably won't go in, or it's not gonna sit all the way, and it's not gonna seal right. So make sure you get all these out. So now I'm just gonna go through. I'm gonna pull them all out. You could do this one by one, but make sure that you pull the crossover tube out first. You're not gonna get it out otherwise. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna get all of them out here, and then I'll bring you guys back when we start putting the new stuff in here. Alright, so there we go, guys. Got all 6 out. And I don't know how well it's going to come up on the camera, if it'll focus on it, but these things have a ton of like crud and soot, I don't know what you want to call it, debris on the end of all of them. Some worse than the others. I don't know. Hard to tell, but saying the least is putting these new injectors in, I think, should make a huge difference. Yeah, something's not right with these. Whether they weren't calibrated right, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I definitely don't think it should be all bunch of debris on the end of them like that. So anyways, got those all out, and we're going to be going back in, get this out of here, with these Dynomite Diesel injectors right here. So, second here. So there we go. There's the new ones. These are Dynomite Diesel 30% over remans. So yeah, we're going to be going back in with these. And these are the new crossover tubes right here. Great, nice fresh ones. And I'd like to give a big thank you to Cutter Up Rob. I got all these parts through him, and he hooked me up with a pretty good deal on all these. So yeah, huge thanks to him, and make sure you go check out his YouTube channel and on Instagram at Cutter Up Rob. So we're gonna go ahead, get these popped in here. I think I'm just gonna go set all the new ones into the holes. Just don't want to leave anything open in case, my luck, I'll end up dropping something down there. So I'm gonna get them all set in there, and then I'll go ahead and show you kind of the torque sequence to putting these in, and the crossover tubes we will also get in there. There we go. We got all the new injectors set down in the hole. I just made sure to put a little bit of oil on the O-ring on it, and then I just set it in there, make sure it's centered in the hole, and then I just give it a little push and it'll pop down in there. You know it's sitting in there. And then I just got the bolts put back in, and I just have them tightened down like just loosely, and the biggest thing is making sure that this is even. because as you can see on here, this can rock. So you want to put it on there, just tighten it down even. So I just did that to all of them now, and then I'll just show you a bit of the torque sequence. I have it written down on a piece of paper here because I forget all the time. Right here. So essentially you're just gonna do 11 inch-pounds, tighten the injector down, and then you're gonna back that off. It's just to get the injector to seat down in there. And then we're gonna put the crossover tube in, same thing, put a bit of oil on the O-ring in there, push it until it pops, put the nut on, and then we're gonna torque that down, to 11 foot-pounds on that, which my wrench doesn't go that low, so I'm just gonna kind of go by feel, just tighten it in there a bit. Then you're gonna do your final torque down on the injector, which I believe is 89 inch-pounds, and then you're gonna torque down your crossover tube after to 37 foot-pounds. But I will set up the camera here and we'll go through this first one here, then we'll go ahead and do the rest of them. All right, so here we go. My inch-pound torque wrench doesn't go low enough, so I'm just going to use a ratchet. I mean, it's just go by feel. I just want to get this tightened down for that 11 inch-pounds, so it's not a crazy amount. You don't want to go too tight and break one of these off. Biggest thing is just getting the injector seat down. So it's there. I'm just going to back it off. There. Just backed off a little there. Now we grab crossover tube. I'm just putting a bit of oil on this O-ring, and then you're going to put it in with this facing up. That's what's going to lock it into position. So we're just going to slide this in there just like that. Let's give her a little push. I don't know if you could hear that, but it popped, and you can see it'll only turn a tiny bit each way. It's kind of locked into that groove. Take our hold down nut here, and we're just gonna slide that over top, spin her in there. I'd cleaned these hold down nuts up a little bit. They're kind of dirty, a bit of crud on them, so I just cleaned up just for the sake of keeping everything with your fuel system clean, and just makes it a little easier to put that in there. So now this calls for 11 foot-pounds. My torque wrench, like I said, doesn't go down to that, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a tighten here just by feel. Make sure it's in there, you know. So we got that. Now we're going to go down to our 89 inch-pounds for the injector. I think I'm just going to tighten these a little bit each, kind of going back and forth here. There we go. Let's double check these. So there we go. Those are tightened down. Now we're just going to switch over and do 37 foot-pounds on the hold down nut here. Just make sure I'm set up right here. Okay, there we go. Get that on there, and we're just going to give it 37 foot-pounds. I think we already housed. So we had her there. I actually tightened her more than we thought. So here, we'll get you here. There we go. We got that all tightened down. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing all the way through them. Pretty simple, but the biggest thing is just being careful, not, especially these ones here, you don't want to over tighten those. So we're gonna go through and just follow that same process all the way through. as you can see, all the crossover tubes in there, the injectors are all in there and tightened down. So now you can just go ahead and do your reassembly process here, putting your rockers back on, putting your injector lines back on, and the valve cover, all that kind of stuff. And also I was going to show, I never showed this earlier, just on my rail here, I just had to use a bit of electrical tape to cover up the spots when I took the lines off. Anything fuel, you want to make sure you keep it nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all back together. I'm super excited to drive this thing now that we got all this extra fuel, along with our lift pump and the other things we have done. So I got to get this truck put back together. You can see it's pretty tore down, so we keep an eye out for when we get this thing fully fired up. That's another thing, once you fire this up, just go through and check, make sure all your injection lines aren't leaking, none of those crossover tubes are leaking, just kind of double check all that stuff. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.